Congress passes Trump-backed Kids Act to enforce digital IDs in order to use the internet. These bills would fundamentally change the internet as we know it. Hey everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. Well, let's get into it like we always do. This is the war and news that not a lot of people are speaking about, as it just kind of takes a back seat to all the political noise we see every day. But this would functionally end the possibility of surfing the internet anonymously, while supercharging Trump's effort to criminalize left-wing opposition groups here in the States. So, the U.S. House of Representatives on Monday night, June 29th, passed a controversial bill that would fundamentally change how Americans will be able to access and use the internet, a piece of legislation that was endorsed by the Trump White House. The Kids Internet and Digital Safety Act, or KIDS Act, was passed with a vote of 267 to 117, with 47 abstentions. The KIDS Act is an omnibus package that bundles together multiple bills, all of them horrible, by the way, including the Kids Online Safety Act, or KOSA for short, the Screen Act, the Safe Bots Act, COPA 2.0, the Spy Kids Act, the most controversial of those being the KOSA Act. Wow. It's unreal, guys, how they just keep trying to disguise this as, oh, we got to protect the children, and it's complete nonsense. If they wanted to protect the children, they'd be prosecuting the people that are being named in the Epstein files, including the President of the United States, who should be impeached. But nonetheless, here we are. So they keep throwing up these smoke screens saying, oh, this is the Kids Online Safety Act, and it's nothing more than more Orwellian control over all of us. So I'm going to scroll down here to the Futurism Report. So Futurism reported that in a blistering statement, the First Amendment group, Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, warns that taken together, these bills would fundamentally change the internet as we know it. That's especially striking because FIRE is funded by conservative private interests like billionaire Charles Koch, meaning its opposition highlights the degree to which Trump is butting heads against fellow members of the U.S. ruling class. The Kids Online Safety Act, KORA, for example, would force social media giants to restrict lawful speech based on the Federal Trade Commission regulations. FIRE complains that this would give the federal government too much power to hold platforms like Meta accountable for their harm, which many would argue is long overdue. But given that just a few corporations own the vast majority of web infrastructure and social media, KORA would give the Trump-controlled FTC major power to bend the internet to its will. To put this into perspective, just regulating Mega's Instagram would impact about 71% of U.S. citizens who say they regularly use the app. It's a powerful weapon. In other words, and like any weapon, it matters a great deal who wields it. Should the White House and Congress push KORA through, it likely would functionally end the possibility of surfing the internet anonymously, while supercharging Trump's efforts to criminalize left-wing opposition groups in the U.S. And here's another story that you can read about this. Leaked DHS and FBI report revealed the Trump administration is quietly targeting anti-tech extremism and Americans protesting data centers as domestic terrorists. Now, they're using anything they can. Anything and everything they can to label us individually as terrorists, because then, under the NDAA that Obama passed in 2012, once they label you as a terrorist, you have no rights. The Constitution goes out the window because you're a terrorist now. And all the Bill of Rights has been removed from you because of that legislation, which I'm sure is unconstitutional, but does it really matter anymore? Constitution's been dead for years. Anyway, the Electronic Frontier Foundation also highlighted a number of the problems with the bills. Here's what they wrote. Throughout the KOSA section of the legislation, special protections, controls, messaging settings, and parental tools are required. Whenever a website or app knows or should have known a user is a child defined in the bill as anyone under 13, or a teen defined as anyone between 13 and 16. The problem is a website operator doesn't need actual knowledge that a user is a minor to get in legal trouble. It applies when the platform knows or should have known a user's age, a low, negligent style standard of knowledge. If an online service gets it wrong, it's going to be up to courts and regulators to decide after the fact if an online service should have known the user was 16. To avoid liability, services will have to determine which users are teenagers and which aren't. And so, essentially, this is going to require digital ID to get on the internet, period. so they know exactly who you are and what you're doing and what you're looking at all times. But to keep it short and sweet, Reclaim the Net warned, strip away the framing and the age verification piece. Ask something concrete of you. To prove you're old enough, you upload a government ID, submit to a face scan, or let a service study your behavior closely enough to guess your age. None of those confirms age and nothing else. They confirm identity, and they leave a record that outlives the check. The internet that once let you be a username starts to demand your legal name, your face, or your documents. Prior to this week's vote in the House, Committee Chairman Brett Guthrie and Ranking Democrat Frank Pallone announced that they had come to some sort of agreement and said it would hold big tech accountable. Really? Then why aren't you stopping Palantir from doing what they're doing? And the flock system and all of that? You're not holding big tech accountable. Unbelievable, these guys. It's just the hypocrisy and the lies just never frickin' stop. We worked across the aisle for many months and have now found common ground on policies to significantly improve the digital environment for kids. All complete bullshit. However, it appears that the current version of the bill will struggle to gain traction in the Senate. Reclaim the Net noted that Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, a COSA co-author, wrote that COSA without a duty of care isn't COSA, said last week, and that the House version is dead in the Senate. And Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee, the other co-author, agrees the provision was central. Senator Ted Cruz, who chairs the Senate Commerce Committee, told reporters he stays open to negotiating with the House. So, the agreement still needs Senate approval and President Trump's signature, neither of which looks imminent. But we need to always keep our eyes open for this stuff, guys. So we get a little heads up anyway about what's coming. But there we go. Author commentary. Always in the name of protecting the kiddos. Exactly. Just like we were just discussing, right? It's not surprising to see the Trump administration moving to deeply censor the internet and most platforms online. Not only is he feeling the pressure by his globalist masters demanding even faster action, seeing as the U.S. is behind the eight ball in comparison to BRICS nations, Trump himself has been a proponent of closing off parts of the internet. Go back to what he said on multiple occasions on the campaign trail in 2015, where he openly said we needed to ask Bill Gates to help close off parts of the internet, and anyone decrying free speech are foolish people. Fast forward a little more than a decade later, and here we are now. Moreover, the WP has noted on several occasions that the Trump administration quiet plans to implement a digital ID system tied to banking and compliance with Trump's Genius Act he signed last July, and supposedly to crack down on illegals. So you can see all the steps that they've been taking here, guys, over the past, year and a half since he's been back in office. So digital ID is just around the corner. And again, the Trump's White House definition of so-called domestic terrorism is framed as going after radical left-wing groups, but the definitions are so broad that practically anyone, here it is, who opposes what the administration says or does could be listed as a terrorist. Exactly. The KIDS Act and the COSA are the latest attempts by not just the Trump administration, but the Uniparty to steal more of our freedoms and sequestering thoughts and opinions. The delay is not because the Senate cares about our safety. No, they are trying to figure out how to reword the text of the bill so they can more subtly insert these measures practically. That's how it always goes. And perhaps this bill fails. The internet warriors cheer, and then it gets shoehorned into another emergency spending bill. Exactly. Or a government shutdown prevention act or whatever of the such like. Happens all the time. Indeed it does. And even if these bills fail for now, big tech is already doing their part voluntarily in the interim, such as Google. As Google introduces a new reCAPTCHA requiring you provide 21 points of your hand to your camera to prove you're not a bot. It just never stops. We're being assaulted by the government and by all these big corporations who work hand in hand now, or hand in glove, however you want to say it. And here we are. We're even here discussing this right now because the people are collectively wicked and have no knowledge. If a people cannot execute proper judgment individually and locally, then sin increases and therefore government increases. We've reached the point where parents refuse to parent. Yep. A child left to himself brings his mother to shame. Proverbs 29:15. And indeed, I see it every single day every single day when there's kids at the pool down here. And the parents bring them to the pool, and the kids go in the pool and they sit and play, sometimes just by themselves, if there's just one of them, because the mom or the dad or both of them are sitting there scrolling on their phones. They don't have parents. It's like they just have supervisors. It's ridiculous. And they don't properly discipline anymore. It's like they don't even care, because I'm sure most of them don't. So, wow. The surveillance is going to get worse, guys. And the days of surfing the internet with anonymity are about over. And these bills, when they pass, it's just a matter of when, it's not if. When they pass, then the internet will change fundamentally forever the next day, as soon as they get signed into law. Wow. It's all here, guys. And the ark door is getting ready to close soon. Do you have Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? He's the way, the truth, and the life, and no one gets to the Father but through him. Seek him today while there's still time, because it's about out. Time is about up. Don't wait another day. Make him Lord and Savior of your life today, right now. And that will be it for now. Don't forget don'tspeaknews.com, home base for everything that we do. If you're not watching the video here, this is where I put all kinds of stories. Over 3,500 now, I believe, over the last 7 years. I put all kinds of stuff here that we just can't speak about anywhere else. In fact, this was started because we kept getting stuff pulled down off of YouTube, and eventually we lost both of our big YouTube channels. They have 15,000 subscribers each. And not real big by other people's standards, but it was to us. But anyway, nonetheless, we're still here. And we started the website because of all of the extreme censorship. So, easy to navigate. If you'd like to contact me or subscribe to the website, click on subscribe, contact Johnny. Don't Speak News or Proton Mail is how you get in touch. Type in your email here and click on subscribe, and then you'll be notified every time there's a new post. In fact, there's a box like that at the bottom of every article as well, and you'll get one pop up while you're here looking at things as well. Channel support is right here. It's also at the bottom of every article, all the links, that is. We are listener supported only. And all those links to support us are right here, including Cash App and Venmo. And then, of course, we have Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, all the different places you can find us under this tab. And all those places are linked up right there. And that will be it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.